Subscribe to our channel and also press the bell icon to never miss an update from Kautilya's Fincast.
Welcome to Kautilya's Fincast for 11th June to 20th of June, 2021.
Let's begin with corporate news.
E-commerce firm Flipkart has partnered with the Telangana government to lead a consortium tasked with the development and execution of drone deliveries of medical supplies to remote areas under the Medicines from the Sky project. Tesla Incorporated will deliver a high-performance version of its Model S, aiming to reignite interest in the nearly decade-old sedan and fend off rivals such as Porsche, Mercedes-Benz and Lucid Motors in the luxury electric vehicle market. Microblogging giant Twitter said it has declined a number of orders from the Indian government, which the company didn't agree with, and thought were in violation of Indian and international law, targeting very particular journalists or activists, etc. Moody's Investors Service has downgraded Delhi International Airport Limited's corporate family rating and senior secured ratings to B1 from Ba3. Reliance Power Limited's board approved a preferential issue of 59.5 crore equity shares and 73 crore warrants worth 1,325 crore rupees to its promoter firm Reliance Infrastructure. The program is open to engineering students in their pre-final/final year of bachelor's, master's or PhD studies. Amazon said the students will get access to the Amazon Research Days conference where they can learn about technology trends in the industry. JK Tyre plans to spend 200 crore rupees in the next 2 years to enhance its production capacity through the bottlenecking of its plants even as it continues de-leveraging exercise and reduced net debt by 929 crore rupees in financial year 2021. Real estate advisory PropTiger has launched a virtual platform PropTiger Direct where customers can experience digital home buying during a time when physical site visits and in-person interactions have been restricted due to COVID-19. The NPA account, Lanco Infratech Limited, with outstanding dues of 215.17 crore rupees has been declared as fraud and reported to RBI as per regulatory requirement. E-commerce firm Flipkart has added a new fulfillment center in Dankuni, West Bengal, as it ramps up its supply chain infrastructure in eastern India to cater to the growing demand for e-commerce services in the region. JP Morgan Chase and Company agreed to buy digital wealth manager Nutmeg Saving and Investment Limited, part of a push to establish a retail banking presence in the UK. Artificial intelligence-based talent platform, Sense, has raised $16 million as part of its Series C funding round, led by Avatar Ventures. Air India Limited is offering to sell several properties including offices, flats and staff quarters at major metropolitans as the cash-strapped airline makes a renewed attempt for such divestments this fiscal. Adani Power has emerged as the successful bidder for SR Power's 1,200 MW thermal power project in Mahan, Madhya Pradesh. Private sector Karnataka Bank has declared accounts of Reliance Home Finance and Reliance Commercial Finance a fraud with combined loan outstandings of over 160 crore rupees to the lender. An international investor consortium, including Washington-based energy sector investor EIG and UAE sovereign wealth fund Mubadala Investment Company, has acquired a 49% stake in Aramco Oil Pipelines Company for $12.4 billion. Omni-channel nutraceutical startup FitDay will invest 25 crore rupees to develop nutrition gummies. After launching 7 vitamin gummies for the Indian market, Google has started providing end-to-end encryption on the Google Messages app, which is the default SMS service on many Android phones.
Let's begin with market news.
Cryptocurrency exchange ZebPay announced that it has introduced Matic token on its lending platform, where investors earn fixed deposit-like returns on their crypto holdings. Banks will face the toughest capital requirements for holdings in Bitcoin and other crypto assets under global regulators' plans to ward off threats to financial stability from the volatile market. Following the resolution plan approved by NCLT in a successful bid of Piramal Group for Devan Housing Finance Corporation Limited, BSE and NSE has suspended the trading in equity shares of DHFL. Markets regulator SEBI came out with revised eligibility criteria for the regulatory sandbox, laying down requirements to apply for the 2 stages of sandbox testing. Overseas investors pumped in a net 13,424 crore rupees so far in June as risk-on sentiment improved with declining COVID-19 cases and hopes of early opening of economy. The government plans to bring in a clutch of anchor investors to invest up to 25,000 crore rupees in the shares of LIC in its planned mega IPO. Shares of Adani Group companies fell between 5% and 18% on 14 June, after the Economic Times reported NSDL had frozen the accounts of 3 foreign funds, which have a total investment of 435 billion rupees in Adani Group companies. SEBI has said independent directors will have to give reasoned recommendation on such proposal, while the promoters need to disclose their intention to delist the firm through an initial public announcement. The center on 15th June announced that mandatory gold hallmarking of gold jewelry and artifacts will come into force from tomorrow, 15th of June, 2021 in a phased manner. Oil climbed as a chorus of prominent traders in the crude market said prices will continue to rise after a nearly 50% rally so far this year. Capital markets regulator SEBI on 16 June came out with new guidelines for settlement of running account of clients' funds and securities that will be applicable from August 1st. SEBI decided to bring listed companies' promoters and directors' dealings in listed debt securities under the purview of system-driven disclosures. Global Securities Index publisher MSCI is looking at launching indexes for cryptocurrency assets, in what would be another step towards mainstream acceptance for digital currencies and the companies trading in them. 197 Communications Limited has roped in JP Morgan Chase and Company, Goldman Sachs, Morgan Stanley and ICICI Securities Limited as official bankers for its proposed IPO later in November this year. SEBI on 18th June came out with a framework for investment advisor administration and supervisory body. SEBI imposed a fine of 90 lakh rupees on 8 entities in a matter of non-genuine transactions in RTS Power Corporation Scripps, CA Rover Holdings, an arm of private equity giant Carlyle, on 18th June sold 48 million shares or 5.1% stake in SBI Cards and Payment Services for 4,811 crore rupees in a bulk deal. Bitcoin dropped over the weekend amid a focus on Chinese mine closures and potential regulatory scrutiny. Bitcoin fell 5.5% to $34,142 and Ether, the second biggest, declined 5.9% to $2,095.
Let's begin with economy news.
Initially, the view was that India would grow at up to 15% in financial year 2021-22 and 10% in the next financial year 2022-23. However, all those hopes are now dashed. The Sensex hit an all-time closing as a high amid optimism surrounding the accelerated vaccination in the economy efforts and this continuing decline in COVID-19 cases in the economy. With consumers' perceptions on general economic situation and employment scenario weakening further, the current situation index fell to new low of 48.5 in May from 53.1 in March 2021. Going forward, the inflation trajectory is likely to be shaped by uncertainties impinging on the upside and the downside. The rising trajectory of international commodity prices, especially of crude oils. The summit is an initiative of U.S. Department of Commerce to promote business investment from around the world into United States in the financial year to increase the global economy. Consumption demand has already been low along with domestic private investment demand, and unemployment levels are increasing with a steepening curve of inflation. As reported from wholesale price index numbers, India's experience in previous century to wait for years to lay its hands on innovations achieved abroad, but its scientists are now working shoulder to shoulder with their counterparts outside. The validity period of teachers' eligibility test qualifying certificate extended from 7 years to lifetime with retrospective effect from 2011. Respective state or UTs will take necessary action to revalidate or issue fresh TET certificates. The agriculture sector grew 3.4% when all other sectors and businesses were incurring heavy losses, provided hope to 58% Indians who are dependent on agriculture and its regions allied. The urban unemployment dropped to 9.7% in week ended June 13 against monthly unemployment rate of 14.7% in May, according to data available with Center for Monitoring Indian Economy. The inflation data comes even as the bruising second wave of the COVID-19 pandemic ebbs in India, and the so-called unlock process with respect to movement and activities continues. The trade deficit in the goods stood at $6.28 billion. The trade deficit was $15.10 billion in April and $3.15 billion in May 2020. Imports in May were up 73.64% year-on-year to $38.55 billion. The 2 months, which were the biggest witness to the ferocity of the second wave of the pandemic, saw about 23 million job losses of both salaried and non-salaried. Despite the COVID-19 pandemic since financial year 2020, the financial wealth in India grew by 11% per annum to $3.4 trillion between 2015 and 2020. A new report, Global Wealth 2021, government focus on infra spending, investment on roads, railways, ports, has fueled steel and cement demand. JSW Steel has laid out capex of 25,000 crore rupees, of 15,000 crore rupees will spend to expand capacity. The lockdown in second wave lasted for slightly more than a month as against 2.5 months in the first wave, and industrial or construction activities were allowed at a limited scale this time. Suitable fiscal measures to alleviate stress of people impacted by second wave are need of the hours. There should be minimum 71.2 lakh average daily vaccination doses from now till December 2021. The Reserve Bank of India has made an estimated that loss in economic output caused by second wave of the COVID-19 pandemic will be around 2 trillion rupees as of now. India maintained 43rd rank on an annual World Competitiveness Index compiled by the Institute for Management Development that has examined the impact of the COVID-19 on the economies. India's stock trading is doing pretty well in stock exchanges despite devastating coronavirus pandemic all around. At present, BSE Sensex is following 3% growth as compared to last financial year.